Good afternoon. This is Megan with Restoration Ranch, and I released a post on my personal page today, and I feel like I need to give some little background, I guess, for kind of some unexpected conversation that's happening. I ended up being on quarantine once again, and as you may know, I did a video after having COVID the first round and really just experiencing a lot of shame, a lot of isolation, just a lot of really hard emotions when I navigated that diagnosis. And I ended up having time with some family and who was helping me actually put together a slideshow for my grandmother's funeral. And we were side by side for hours on end. And unfortunately, the day after this time together, they lost their sense of taste and smell. So when that happened, I realized obviously I had very much been exposed. And a few days later, I ended up having some new symptoms that were different than the first time that I had had COVID. But I thought, well, hopefully this is not COVID. So tested for strep throat. It was not that. And my care team decided that we would do another COVID test. It did come back positive, as did one of my kiddos have a positive test, and the other members of our family were negative. But with that, they weren't able to guarantee that this was a second positive. I actually had COVID. It was a little over 2 months ago since from that time to the time that I took the next test. So they say that you can test positive within 3 months' time of having a COVID diagnosis. So there's no way, again, to know for certain that this was a new case. However, with increased exposure, with new symptoms that I had experienced that lined up with some of what I had experienced, I had some new with the sore throat that was semi-intense, and then I had just kind of the edges of a headache that was similar to the headache that I had with COVID, which was different than a normal headache. So with all of that said, we're fairly confident that I did have COVID once again. So I don't say this to bring fear to people at all. I just want to honor that as the holidays approach, and even as my heart was just really desiring, okay, I had COVID, I should be good for 3 months. And again, perhaps I was, we don't know 100%, but I think there's just continues to be so much uncertainty, and that is what is just so challenging with COVID. There's so many answers we don't have. And so as we navigate how to gather and these difficult decisions that we are all making as we try to find time to be together, to love one another, to enjoy life with some precautions, just encouraging you to just be aware that we don't know, and how do we, again, just continue to love one another as well as we can. So some probably not super exciting news today, but hopefully just an encouragement, again, to really think about how do we just act with love, act with just cautiousness when it comes to how to navigate life in these uncertain times. And really, when it comes down to it, how do we rest in what we do know? And to me, that is that God is in control, even though the world and what I am doing right now feels maybe out of control as far as being able to predict what's going to happen with my health, with the health of others. Just resting in how do I lean on the Lord during this time? How do I navigate just one day at a time, one step at a time? Take a deep breath and just try to be wise with the information that I am receiving. So again, I just pray that this information can just serve as an invitation to you to love yourself well if you're not feeling well, love others, and just wherever they find themselves in trying to navigate this journey the best that they know how do we continue to love well in the midst of all of these uncertainties. So a little challenge again and some information. Take care.